Most people think training legs for mountain biking means squatting until they can't walk. However, mountain biking demands so much more because your legs have three distinct jobs. They are your engine, power, and most importantly, suspension. And if you ride e-bikes, you might think that leg training doesn't matter. But actually, most critical for e-bikers is the last one that I'm going to show you of the three pillars: endurance, power, and isometrics. And I'm going to show you how to do that in the gym with equipment or at home. And the best part, right on the trails. We have to use that one. Not being good at climbing is the worst, but just practice isn't as effective as having a strategy to get better at it. Over gear grind is how we build muscular endurance, which will help you not only clear those 20-minute climbs without your legs feeling like lead, but also recover quicker when you get to the top. Trying to keep a nice fluid circular motion on the pedals, but at a reasonably uncomfortable low cadence until you're close to feeling burn in your legs, but you want to avoid that. Then recover and repeat 4, 6, maybe 8 times. This will build the muscular endurance, but also aerobic capacity that will really help your, not just muscles, but your whole system. That's endurance on the bike. Now let's take a look in the gym. Arguably, training in a controlled environment, aka the gym, is better for physiological gains than on the bike because we can increase the load and the stress as we grow. So for the purpose of muscular endurance, we're going to be doing high reps of single leg work. So I'll get into that detail now. We're hitting sets of 20 to 30 reps. If you can do more than 30 reps, add load. We're going to do one side, cyclical movement with the majority of load on your front leg, performing one set, a little rest between sides, doing a total of 3 sets. You can do that once or twice a week over a number of weeks and increase the progressive overload, increasing your capacity for that high rep, which will reflect on your muscular endurance on the bike. Now let's take a look if you're training at home without load. Training that muscular endurance at home can be reasonably simple, but because you don't have load, the only variable for the progression is volume. It means that maybe we do 3 sets of 30 each side in the first session, and then increasing that number, and eventually maybe you'll do 5 sets of 50 each side. But it's important you're making the progress, not just doing it for the sake of it. And on that note, the technique is crucial. Don't push your back foot to help with the movement. Load your front leg as much as possible, so you're getting the load where we want it throughout that range of motion. Now that's the home for leg endurance. Let's look at about power. Short duration explosive power on the pedals is so good across the board for mountain biking. I'm not going to go into all of the reasons why you should increase it. It will help. Let's just take a look at training it. So I'm in a reasonably heavy gear here. I've got a road about 100 meters. The goal here is 8 to 12 seconds of hard sprinting, 100% effort the whole way. So from a track stand start, dead stop, power in, pushing, pulling with the hands, but mostly into the legs. And when the cadence is high, change gears, continue up, blast, 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 100% effort, all the way. So cruise down, even rest at the bottom to let your heart rate get back down, because the purpose here is not aerobic fitness, it's anaerobic. So allowing a full recovery before the next effort, breaking into sets then of 4 to 6, and then a longer duration rest, and you can do 2 or 3 of those per session. And this will really speed up that neuromuscular connection into your muscles, generating more power when you're on the trails riding normally. A big mistake I see many people making is that they feel like they need a bike for the job. No, 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 no! And this channel is all about you as an athlete. I'm on my Propain Enduro bike, 170, 160, my actual favorite in my lineup. But I've been doing it on this bike specifically to show you that you don't need tons of bikes in your arsenal. If you only have one, you can do all of this. That said, I can't recommend Propain highly enough for their quality build at affordable prices, So please go and check out the Propain website. You may be surprised at how great their configurator is to make your perfect bike with what I would say is one of the best frames out there. Power training is by far best done in the gym because of the load. So what we're doing here is increasing velocity at sub-max load. So this isn't a grindy deadlift, this is literally a jump. So with a load that I feel safe with, to jump as high as I can with 100% effort for 6 to 8 reps increases the neuromuscular adaptation, which isn't muscle building, it's the connection from my brain to my muscle to tell it to fire. And depending on where you're at in your season, you can load heavy, get lighter, that power increases to speed and therefore more athleticism. That's the trap bar deadlift. Before we go and look at the home version of speed and power, it's worth noting that this video is to inspire you to look at different ways to train off the bike and on. But ultimately, the full program that Fit4Racing provides, go to fit4racing.com, is a holistic program with all of the reps, sets, exercises well explained. So we're not going to give you all of that value because that is something you need to go and check out and see for yourself. Power generation through velocity. This is what we're going to do at home, void of load. So the same position as the trap bar deadlift, which is going to replicate that pedal stroke, you are simply going to jump as high as you can. Again, 6 to 8 reps, 100% effort into the jump. But one way we can change the loading is by going single-sided. So we're going to put 70% of load on the front leg, replicating that same pedal position, but driving. And that way you have a little progression between double, then to single when you're ready, and trying to increase the height versus the number because it's speed and power. Now that's done, let's take a look at isometrics. Or, for the purposes of mountain biking, semi-isometric, because there will be a little bit of movement, and there's no better place to train that than a pump track. Now, I'm on my enduro bike, you don't need a dirt jumper for this. It does make it more difficult, but we're here to train and not be the best at pump track. And for e-bikers, this is probably even more important than people that don't, because you're doing more laps of downhill, you need better condition in that semi-isometric position. E-bikes may help you up with all of the other pillars that we talked about in this video, but this one is way more important for you. So don't ignore it, train it, and you'll see the difference. The actual method to approach training on a pump track, think about it like interval training. A deep, aggressive track like this, I maybe do 8 to 10 laps. That'll spike my heart rate. Just before the burn in your legs kick in, come off. Allow your heart rate to drop down if you have a monitor, maybe 120 before doing the next interval. So the point is not to go full burn, but to practice close to it, like threshold training, to actually stimulate your body and your muscles to make improvement. Now let's take a look at how to train that in the gym. On the theme of semi-isometric, this is a brilliant way in the gym to replicate the stresses on that front leg that you're going to be under on the bike. So 45 seconds to 60 seconds, changing sides each time is going to condition you, but build that muscle's resilience to the stresses of holding that bike position. One side to the other, holding a vertical shin with a little movement in your knee, a little movement in the hip, shoulder lock back and down, very much like the attack position on your bike. This is very difficult to replicate in a controlled environment on the bike, therefore gym training can get more gains. That's the gym, let's take a look at home. This is a good place to start if you're training at home. If you can manage 90 degrees at the knee and the hip for 1 minute, you're probably ready to progress on to the next stage. And as we've described earlier, if you don't have load, going single-legged really can help stimulate the muscles more. So the rear foot elevated split squat, a go-to for cyclists that want pedal power, we're actually going to use that position to hold isometrically. And here, if you can manage again 60 seconds, you can progress that by doing mid-position pumps. Because like I said at the start of this section, semi-isometric has much better effect on your actual riding, because that's the stress that you're under whilst you're on the bike. So conditioning for riding, not just getting better in the gym with weights, reps, etc. It has to be applicable to the bike. That's what we're about. Subscribe if you want to see more. Visit fit4racing.com for a full program. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.